My guest today hangs with the likes of Donald Trump and Gene Simmons. He's been responsible for a $17 billion marketing budget. He's a judge on America's Celebrity Apprentice. Oh, and he's a cowboy who loves small business. Yeehaw!
Welcome to the Small Business Big Marketing Show, where successful small business owners share their secrets to take your marketing to the next level. Now here's your host, Tim Reid.
Welcome back, listeners, to another episode of Australia's #1 marketing show. I'm your host, Timbo Reid, but you, so much more importantly, are a motivated small business owner ready to crank out some great marketing. Big show today, so well done to you for dropping in and being a part of it. I answer a listener question about how to use LinkedIn to generate more inquiry. I share a motivational marketing quote that will get you seriously, and I mean seriously, reflecting on your current marketing approach. If that doesn't, my fireside chat with Celebrity Apprentice judge Jeffrey Hayzlett will. It'll leave you feeling quite pumped about this brave new world of marketing that we are amongst. And of course, there is always time for a weekly check-in. So, yep, you guessed it. There is plenty of gold dripping from the Small Business Big Marketing HQ's ceiling. So let's get stuck writing.
Small Business Big Marketing with Tim Reid. smallbusinessbigmarketing.com.
So, how's your week? Time for a bit of a check-in, I reckon. I've had a great week. Like, not exceptionally, unbelievably great, but good enough to give it a big tick of approval. Had some amazing people into my life this week, and I'm really grateful for it. And I just think sometimes maybe we don't acknowledge when people just, for whatever reason, drop into our lives. There's been 2 or 3 people who, have just come out of the blue and, had a really positive impact on various things I'm doing at both a business and a personal level. So if they are listening, they know who they are. And, I think we should probably be a little bit more aware when these angels drop in. Hey, I got an amazing testimonial from a guy who was in an audience of a conference I spoke at in Dubai just over a year ago. His name's Grant Rubin, and I'm going to read it to you because it was mind-blowing when it came through. He said, quote unquote, "I implemented what Tim shared in Dubai, and I wrote an additional $4 million of mortgages within 6 months." Grant is a mortgage broker with Loan Market, and I don't chase down testimonials. There is a role for them in marketing. Maybe we'll talk about that down the track, but we talk about it a lot in the forum, actually. But getting that testimonial was quite mind-blowing, and I have immediately included it in my keynote presentation to prove that this stuff that we talk about on this show works. Got some Counting Crows tickets this week. Oh, yeah. Gee, I love Counting Crows. Completely irrelevant to marketing, but I'm quite excited. They're the Counting Crows concert in April. One of my favourite bands from the 90s, despite the fact that I'm stuck in the 80s, as my children remind me. I'm speaking in Content Marketing World in Sydney next week. This episode will be live by the time I've spoken there, but maybe if you are going, I'll have said g'day to you. That would be good. And continue to send in your expressions of interest around Roundtable. That idea that I shared in last week's episode, where if there's enough of you motivated small business owners who want to get together and talk about your business and your marketing, then I will be absolutely happy to consider it. Just email me, tim@smallbusinessbigmarketing.com. That's my week. I'd love to hear how yours is. Feel free to leave a comment in the show notes for episode 230 or join the Small Business Big Marketing Forum. Now, this show's made possible by 99 Designs and Net Registry. A couple of things, good stuff coming up. 99 Designs and I are running a free webinar all about how to create the ultimate creative brief, how to write the ultimate creative brief. And I would save the date right now. It's going to happen on April 8 between 9 and 10 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So I'll let you do the conversion if you are elsewhere in the world. But if you've ever wondered how to write a brief for anything, any creative output, whether it be a brochure or a website or a logo, then we are going to show you the exact questions that you need to answer and how to go about answering them. So the designer has the best opportunity to provide you some great outcomes. And I'm quite excited doing that with the head of design at 99 Designs, Alex, head of user interface, actually. Hey, UI. So happy with that. If you've had some success with 99 Designs, email me, tim@smallbusinessbigmarketing.com. I would love to have a chat to you and turn that into some testimonials, because I think that's a great way. If you hear from your colleagues about successes they're having, then I think you're going to like that. So feel free to contact me. 99 Designs is all about running a contest, 7 days. You nominate the prize money. You get stuff designed, brochures, logos, car wraps, book covers, whatever it is. 7 days later, designers from all around the world are submitting their finished designs. And it's 100% guarantee. So if you don't like what you're getting, you get your money back. It's a win-win-win situation. Head over to 99designs.com/SBBM and you will get $99 upgrade of services for free. Gotta love that. And Net Registry. Don't forget Net Registry for all your online marketing needs. And again, if you've had great experience with Net Registry, email me, tim@smallbusinessbigmarketing.com, and I would love to hear about your experience. And I'd record it and potentially run it in a future episode of the show. But basically, if you need anything sorted online, from your AdWords campaign to a website to a domain name to website hosting, head over to netregistry.com.au because they're going to sort you out. And tell them Timbo sent you. So I get quite a few questions over the course of the year about LinkedIn and how to use it to generate more inquiry to grow your business, or in fact, should you be using it? And what I did, I got a fellow Mark Williams out of the UK, Mr. LinkedIn, to do a webinar with me just this week, where I got forum members to submit their questions, and we covered a whole lot of ground. We covered things like company versus personal page, whether you should have a premium or a free account. We talked about status updating, who to connect with, who not to connect with, and how to optimize your profile. Covered a lot of ground. I want to give you 3 insights that will help you right now generate more business with your LinkedIn account. Number 1, join groups and participate in groups. The majority of people on LinkedIn are in the groups and they're actively having chats about various aspects of their business. So that is a massive way to see more engagement and more results from your LinkedIn alongside just having, a really good profile. Number 2, Mark talked about the strength of weak ties, this concept whereby there is power in connecting with people who you don't know or you don't know very well. Funnily enough, he challenges what LinkedIn say, which is you should only connect with those you know or who know you very well. Mark believes that connecting even with people who you have weak ties with is a good thing because you don't know who they know and who they know, so that's a good thing. Number 3, you don't need a premium account. You might be getting emails from LinkedIn saying, do you want to upgrade for free for a month? You really don't need it, according to Mark, unless you are a recruiter. So that kind of answers that question. We covered a lot of ground in this webinar, 82 minutes of LinkedIn marketing gold. And it sits inside the Small Business Big Marketing Forum in perpetuity. So if you do want to grab hold of it and have a listen, head over to crankmymarketing.com, and that alongside with so much other marketing training and a whole lot of other motivated business owners ready to support each other through this very, very dark art we call marketing. It's all waiting for you inside the Small Business Big Marketing Forum. So see you in there. I'm in there every day. crankmymarketing.com. Okay, let's get stuck into today's guest, who is Jeffrey Hayzlett. You can hit him up on Twitter. Tell him you heard him on the show, at Jeffrey. I'm going to spell this for you. Jeffrey, Hayzlett, Hayzlett, all one word. Tell him you heard him on the show. Interesting guy. Now, Jeffrey was introduced to me by past guest, Kirsty Spraggon from Kirsty TV. Jeffrey is ex-marketing guru, head honcho of Kodak, and now he runs his own consulting group in the States called the Hayzlett Group. He's a judge on Celebrity Apprentice, sitting alongside none other than Donald Trump. I was going to say Sir Donald Trump, but that wouldn't be possible because he is an American. Jeffrey is a keynote speaker. Check this. He gets $35,000 US per keynote, and he does 150 plus of them per year. And he now podcasts, and we talk a lot about podcasting and the future of it. He's very bullish about the future of podcasting. His first guest was Gene Simmons from Kiss, who I think is one of the great marketers of all time. Would love to get him on this show. Jeffrey's also written 2 books, 2 bestsellers actually. One's called The Mirror Test, and the other one is Running the Gauntlet. We go deep in this conversation about the wonderful new world of marketing and how it's changed. Despite Jeffrey having been responsible for a $17 billion marketing budget, he is very excited by what's possible these days, as am I, from a small business perspective. And we talk a lot about that, how the marketing world, all these changes that we're seeing are playing right into the hands of you and I, the motivated small business owner. Now, I had a slight technical glitch halfway through this interview, and I've left it in for your laughing pleasure, because I know you like to have a bit of a giggle at me sometimes and with me at other times. So without further ado, or ado, I never know which one it is, here's Jeffrey Hayzlett.
Cut 'em out. Ride 'em in raw.
Jeffrey Hayzlett, welcome to the Small Business Big Marketing Show.
Well, it's great to be with you, and thanks for calling me. I feel honored to be on such a prestigious show.
Oh, come on, stop it. Hashtag blushing. Hey, mate, you're a cowboy at heart, so how does that impact on your approach to business?
Hey, cowboy at heart, but also I'm a cowboy all the time. I'm wearing cowboy boots right now and can't wait to get home to my place in South Dakota. But, it's kind of like an attitude, It's like cowboys, have to do a lot of work, just like a lot of small business owners. We have to pull up roll up our sleeves, pull up our pants, put our big boy panties on, so to speak, and get the stuff done. And, that's what cowboys, you might like to go home. You might like to take the horse to the barn, but you got to stay late and you got to put in a full day's work. And that's what it's all about. So I'm a lot like that. And I'm also a lot like Australians, where you just tell it like it is, which is, a part of my brand. When people talk about, my brand, and that's also tied into the cowboy thing, because a brand is nothing but a promise delivered. It's also something we put on always put on a cow and occasionally a horse, but when you get down to it, it's always about delivering a promise, and I think that's a little bit of the cowboy way.
I love that brand thing. I talk a lot about branding on this show and from stage. The brand is an indelible imprint which you put on a cow, and if you can create a brand in your business that leaves an indelible imprint on in the mind of your prospect or customer, then you're on the way to running a pretty good business, I would have thought.
Yeah, absolutely. And most people don't pay attention to that. You should really start out, and I love that you said that. So you should start out with that in mind. What do I want these folks to walk away with? What do I want them to think about me and my business? Because, by the way, sell yourself, sell the business. Sell your business, sell yourself. When they see you walk in, they think hey, there's the plumber. There's Jim, there's Joe. They see your business when they see you. And so it's about delivering on that promise. Very important.
Man, that is so, so true. A friend of mine, he has a business, a boat sales business. He recently sold his Mercedes for a Volkswagen Ute because it reflected better on him, and it was part of more on brand, if you like, because he's always delivering boats, towing boats around, and it just kind of looked a bit tougher. Although I would argue that Volkswagen isn't the toughest brand going around.
Yeah, he needs a good Ford or something like that. I drive a pickup truck with a cracked window and bullet holes in the back of my place. That's what I have.
The bullet holes, they didn't get you?
Oh, they didn't get me, no. They're trying. They keep trying.
Jeff, tell me, the personal branding thing. So cowboys are about rolling the sleeves up, putting the big boys' panties on, as you said, telling it how it is. From my perspective, they're also tough guys. They could be pretty brutal, pretty harsh. Is that something that's part of your brand?
Well, I think they're transparent. I don't know if I would say brutal and harsh, but I think you're talking the same language, which means they just say it like it is. And whatever it is, it's good, bad, or ugly. It doesn't make a difference. It is what it is. And I've always been that way. So, give it to me straight, and I'll give it to you straight. I mean, now I'm doing television and radio myself here in the States, with Donald Trump on Celebrity Apprentice or my own television show on Bloomberg and now my radio show on CBS and Play.it. But, but I'm always known for just saying it, because a lot of people say, did he just say that? That's what I want people to think, because I just said what everybody else is thinking. And so I try to bring that out. And I think, cowboys are like that. And I think, I mean, think about your best friends. Do you want friends who don't tell you, you're walking around with toilet paper on your shoe? Yeah. Or do you want them to tell you that, hey, that doesn't look good? And I think that's okay to say that to friends and to people that you want to be your friends, to the customers, whatever.
I love that. I love constructive feedback. I sent an email a few days ago to a mate who did an email to his database that just smelled a little bit too internet marketing, if you know what I mean. And I emailed
absolutely.
him back and said, hey, don't think it suits your personal brand. I was a little bit apprehensive about doing it because I really respect the guy. But he came back and was really, really glad that I'd hit him up and told him what I thought, and he respected that. So
I've had to call friends of mine, speakers, and sometimes they get a little snotty and a little full of themselves, And I had a guy who said, I don't answer my own email. It must be done this way, blah, 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 blah. And I wrote back and said, quit being an ass. You need to do that every once in a while.
Yeah, I agree. Totally agree. Tell me, just finish that personal branding discussion, because I think it's important, and I haven't sort of really gone deep into the personal brand thing on this show. I've seen photos of you, videos of you. You've got your cowboy boots on with your suit, and you're kind of, I don't know whether you wear a 10-gallon or I don't know however big, what is a big hat, but do you actually make an effort? Like, are you known for your cowboy boots?
Oh, absolutely. Everybody knows about the boots. In fact, even when I go to the UK, and there they, I'm on BBC, they play the theme song to Bonanza,
Love it.
So, yeah, I'm fairly well known for that. I've always worn boots. I just always have. Many years ago I didn't, but but when I got to my 30s, I always said, I always wanted to be a cowboy, and I'm going to do it, So I got the horses, I got the stuff, I got the boots, I got everything, and even the hat. I don't always wear the hat because I'm in New York a lot, but I wear jeans and I wear boots and I wear a sport coat.
Yeah.
That's just me. Now, when I was working in the corporate job, I was a Fortune 100 CMO, a Fortune 100 company, a pretty big brand, Kodak, around the world. And I wore more suits and ties. But as I started to leave that, I started deciding I don't need to do that. And you know what? I don't want to do that. And so even when I left, that Fortune 100 job, I said, I'm never doing that again. And I even went on Bloomberg, and, you get all these consultants that come to you when you get on TV and they tell you, tint your hair this way and tint your hair that way and do this and lose weight and all that. And they came to me and said, Mr. Hayzlett, we want you to wear a suit and tie. I said, I don't wear a suit and tie. And they said, well, at least wear the suit with the pants, suit pants. I go, I don't wear suit pants. You bought me this way. I wear this jacket. This is the kind of jacket I wear. I wear a shirt. I don't wear a tie. I wear jeans. I wear cowboy boots. That's the end of the discussion.
I don't get why. Why would they advise you to change? I mean, who are they advise you to change the way you look? I mean, they've kind of.
Well, that's what they bought. See, that's what they forgot. And I had to remind them, hey, you paid for this. Why would you want to change it? If you want something different, go buy something different. Go buy somebody that's not as good looking as me. Go out and find it.
Yeah, good luck with that too, by the way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, they'll come straight back.
No, you'll find a lot of people who are less good looking than me. A lot of them out there.
You and I both do a lot of speaking, and I've been booked for speaking engagements where they've asked me to wear a suit, and I'm not a suit guy. I don't feel comfortable in a suit. I said, why do you want me to wear a suit? Oh, well, our audience will be in suits. But I'm me, and I think more of us should kind of stand up and just reflect, be strong about our personal brand.
I wouldn't do that. And so I have those discussions with them. I mean, I'm known for using a little bit of blue language. I don't know if that's the right term.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, where I'm known for saying some naughty words from time to time. And just that's who I am. And if you don't like it, don't hire me. And I've had groups who've come to me and asked me please don't say these words. And if they ask me, I won't. Now, if they ask me to change and put on a suit and tie, I won't do that. Okay? But I will, out of respect to them, not use, naughty language, although typically I forget and I use it anyway.
Yeah.
And I still get the standing ovation, and they're still happy, and no one died.
Love it.
And they're hiring me for my expertise, and I won't pretend to be, know them better than they know themselves, but I also know what people will allow, and I also know that, you're buying this package of whatever that is, the brand, the promise delivered. And do you want the full Monty, or do you just want part of it, And I'm okay with it if they're paying me. I mean, I'll figure out certain things, but there's certain things, no, I won't do that. I even had one group tried to find me, for every word I said, and they sent me a list. They sent me a list, Tim, of words I couldn't say. I wouldn't say those words if you paid me. So, and I said, some of these words I don't even know the meaning of. But they said, well, for every word you say, we're going to fine you $500 that's on this list. I said, well, trust me. And they said that we're going to set aside $7,500 of your, $35,000 fee. We're going to set that aside as insurance. I said, well, go ahead and set it aside because I'm going to use it up. So,
Love it.
I wasn't going to, but now that since they said I could, I figured I'd let loose. But I didn't in the end. We worked it out, and I just said, look, just ask me, and I won't say the words. I can do that.
I love it. Now, Jeffrey, marketing, you've been with the Chief Marketing Officer of Kodak. You've spent some time with some heavy hitters, Warren Buffett, Gene Simmons, Donald Trump. A lot of small business owners listening, they think marketing's a bit of a dark art. It scares them. They're working hard. They're listening to this show, which is great. What's the is there a key lesson that links all you guys in terms of what you would say to a small business owner that is struggling with their marketing? Lost you.
Hello.
One would think I was calling you from Manila and we just had a brownout, but...
No. Is that what happened?
Well, if you want the absolute truth, my son was toasting something and blew a fuse.
Oh, that's funny. That's hilarious. That's awesome.
Yeah. I wouldn't use the word awesome for that, but...
that's okay. Shit happens.
Shit happens. Correct. So, I'll count us in and I know exactly where to pick up from.
Yep, no problem.
3, 2, 1. So, Jeffrey, a lot of small business owners listening, they see marketing as a dark art. You've spent a lot of time with guys like, Donald Trump, Gene Simmons, Warren Buffett, to name a few. What's the kind of common link amongst you guys that you can give us? Like, what's the big marketing tip that you can give us, having spent time with them?
I got to tell you, I used to manage a budget, of just a few $100s to a few $1,000s. I also managed budgets of $17 billion,
Wow. A marketing budget of $17 billion?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So and let me tell you the difference. There's no difference between a small business that's listening to us right now and a great, big, huge corporation that Rupert Murdoch owns. The only difference in the fundamentals of the business is that there's zeros behind the different numbers. That's it. So that if you think of it and you take all the mystery out of it, and which means there's no difference between the businesses. I call them a business on Main Street. I don't know what you call Main Street there, but in the U.S. we call Main Street or Wall Street. There's no difference in those businesses, just the numbers of zeros. So I always looked at when I made decisions on $17 billion or $1 billion or $1 million decisions, I always say, is this good back for my business back home? And that's the way I looked at it. So I look at it the same way. And that's what you have to think. And quite frankly, that's what Warren Buffett and Donald Trump does. And, these are guys who are friends of mine, and I work with them. They're business partners. But at the same time, I'll tell you that that's the way they really look at it as well. Is it a fundamental thing that's going to get me what I want? So when you're thinking about that ad, or when you're thinking about doing social media or whatever, is this going to get me what I want? By the way, if you're out there and you're a small business, you're not doing social media, you're a moron. You're an idiot.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Because you should be doing those things because it's the biggest use of OPM I've ever seen. And when I'm talking about OPM, other people's money, okay?
I thought you said opium.
Yeah, opium. Well, hey, that's a good. That'll get you a whole different reaction,
Yeah.
you know. And that'll really craze up your marketing. But I don't advocate that.
No, correct. Tell me about it. So that's interesting because my guest, the guy who I interviewed yesterday, Jeff Bullis, who's a social media expert in Australia, we kind of had that discussion. And I'm the marketing guy who says, look, social media is a good thing. It's here to stay. I'd put my toe in the water if I were you, but it does cause a lot of anxiety amongst small business owners because a lot of them just aren't seeing a return from it.
Well, but it's a great way to have a community and to have a great way to communicate with your customers. So as fast as they come to you is as fast as they will leave you. I'm not saying you have to put all your money in there or all your time in there. First of all, I don't know how you put all your money in social media in the first place, right? But my point is, that's where some of your customers are, you know, and that's where you want to be. And they talk about you. So you want to engage. I want to be where my customers are. And if my customers are on the telephone, I'm on the telephone. If they were on fax machines, which I don't know that exist anymore, I would be there. But they're on social media, so I do want to be there, and I want to be there when they want to have me, and I want to, you know, and you know, have conversations with them. And I think that's what you want to do. So I agree with you about dipping your toe in, but I can tell you that I know businesses like tanning salons and plumbers and electricians who get most of their leads from social media, and most of their leads from referrals. And where do you get the referrals? From other people's money.
Yeah. I call those referrals from social media word of mouth because we see that more and more, you know.
Good.
Like,
Exactly.
Well, thank you very much. So hang
on. I'm trademarking that.
No, hang on. Hey, hang on, guys. Just I don't know what you do, but make sure my name goes against word of mouth. Okay, I'm back with you, Jeffrey. So here's the thing: you say that the difference between Wall Street and Main Street is the number of zeros at the end of a marketing budget. Yeah, that sounds like it sounds good, but as a small business owner, when you've got less zeros, you are absolutely limited to what you can do. I've also worked with big marketing budgets, and it opens up.
Don't you think a big marketing company or a big company is limited by what they can do? They don't have unlimited budgets. I got that you think it's a lot of money. Now, let me tell you what. I was sitting down next to the chief marketing officer of GE, General Electric, one of the biggest companies in the world, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting there asking him, thinking I'm big stuff, being Mr. $17 billion sitting there. And I lean over and say to him, hey, what's your growth number you have to hit? And he told me it was 15 billion, which means just to get to his growth number, he had to hit $15 billion. It was right then there I realized no matter how big you think you are, there's always someone bigger, right? So my point is, don't think that I didn't have to make choices with a $17 billion budget. You always have to make choices.
Of course.
Whether it's time, it's money, expertise, or where you want to make the bets, right? So, yeah, did I have some luxury to do some different things? Yeah, without question. I had money. So, but that didn't mean I had an unlimited budget. I still had people I had to make justifications to on how to spend it, you know, and so forth and so on. So, but when you're a small business, you're doing those things too. So, but you got to be doing it. You should be doing it, and it's not some, you know, scary black art. It really is systematic. Where are my customers? How do I get to them? What's the best way to reach it? Oh, let me try this. Let me try a $50 Facebook ad. Mm-hmm. Let me go try, a Yellow Page ad. Let me go try an ad in a local shopper. You know, or let me do a direct mail, or let me build a list of all my customers and send them a newsletter every month. You know, those are things you got to do.
I think one of the things you highlighted then is, and as I say, the marketing world has changed so much in the last, month, 6 months, 12 months, and all these changes. I mean, you just listed a whole lot of things from a Yellow Pages ad to, social media and everything in between. And the options open to us small guys now, which would used to just be available to the bigger guys, is incredible. I mean, the fact that I've got my own show, I remember 6 years ago, starting to podcast going, this is crazy. I'm a marketing guy and I've got my own show now. I no longer have to lease media from somewhere else.
Yeah, well, and then think about the range of what you can do. I can actually buy through search engine optimization. I could have mine next to the biggest competitor that's out there. So I could be a one-man shop, and I could be next. My business can be listed next to the biggest guy out there. That's pretty cool. So, but you're going to have to get smart, or you're going to have to find, a cousin or someone who can help you get smart and be able to take advantage of those tools that are out there. And it's mind-boggling. Well, get over it. That's just the way it is.
Love that. Get over it. Too true. I do take a little bit of pride, Jeffrey, in the fact that this show sits above Apple and often Seth Godin and Harvard Business School in the iTunes top 10. So that is an example. As much as that's ego saying that, it's also an example of, hey, us little blokes can punch way above our marketing weight.
Well, but you're taller than Seth Godin.
Hey.
I had Seth here in the office. He's not a very tall guy, so I can see why you would tower over him. but he's a really good guy. And, it was interesting. Seth had an article here just the other day that said, the new marketers are going to be called editors. And I'm about to do a column that says he's partially right, because it's also going to be producers, which means, get out your video, get out your iPhone, get out your Android, cut a video of you on how to install a new, I'm stuck on plumbers today, but, how to install a new sink, how to tighten this down and not have a drip, do things like that you can put out, and that's content. And you get that out to your customers, list it on your website, tweet it out. And that's going to help get you business, because it helps to make you a subject matter expert, which is a real important thing these days.
I think much more producer than editor. I'll be interesting to read what Seth says about editor, because I strongly believe, we should be, we've got two businesses now, as small business owners, the business that we're in, and now we've got a media business. And that media business is our platform to get our helpful messages out there that are going to give people the opportunity to make a more informed decision. As an editor, that feels like I've got to get on the tools. And I just say to small business owners, you can find an editor for $5, on Elance.
Exactly. Exactly. It's so cheap to do that. I mean, there's all these different services that are out there. There's great products. I'm looking at two this weekend that I saw that I own a television production company. I have a primetime television show. I'm going to create and sell 20 different television shows this year. And I'm looking at some of the tools going out there and going, what do I need all this stuff for?
Man, Yeah, you certainly need an Australian host on one of those shows too. But more on that in a minute.
That's a different topic.
Different topic. So tell me, let's talk content, because you have now moved in. You've now got your own podcast, and I find this fascinating, because what I'm seeing with podcasting is that it's getting more crowded, and people like you who have a media profile in the mass media, and I'm seeing this in Australia too, are now identifying podcasting, independent production, as being a way to go. We're seeing Stitcher arrive on the dashboards of new cars now, which I think is fantastic. Podcasting's still a bit of a dark art for many, because they don't know how to access them. But what drove you to podcasting, Jeffrey?
Well, the money. I mean, quite frankly.
Really?
Absolutely. With the profile that we have, we're able to get substantial sponsors, and we have a reach. And also it's getting back to what we said before. I want to go where the people are. Sam Kinison, a former comedian who passed away many years ago, used to do this whole routine about starving people in the desert. He said, move to, get out of the desert. Food doesn't grow in the desert. Move to where the food is. And so in this case, more and more people, there's a huge resurgence in podcasting. And so I want to take advantage of that. So if that's where the people are, that's where I'm going to be. So that allows me, I can sit here and, charge $100,000 here, a couple $100,000 here, and bring these sponsors in. And before I know it, we're talking about real money, and the fact that I'm out there to tens of thousands of people per day, and when you want to listen to it. And I think that's what makes it very special. So it's a medium in which you're going to access it. We're going to see more and more podcasts, just like we're going to see more and more video content that's out there that you on demand. When was the last time you rushed home to watch a television show during prime time? It doesn't happen. No. Yeah, it doesn't happen. And so that's what we're seeing with podcasts, and more people are going to be doing it. Certainly younger people do it. Millennials do it, or those of millennial minds. I like to think I'm a 55-year-old of a millennial mind, So, I think you're going to see a lot more people do it, and they love it, because they get to, a lot of people probably working out right now listening to us, or driving right now and listening to us. And And who knows, maybe even having sex and listening to us.
Well,
so there we go.
Hello to you. And Phil, if it's twins, call one Tim and call the girl Jeffrey. And tell me, say, I love it. I mean, you say a resurgence in podcasting. That put a smile on my face because I feel like it's a surgence in podcasting. The hasn't happened yet, certainly in Australia. And I love what Alex...
I guess I link in it to radio.
Okay.
Because that's what I mean by that. Yeah, it's an audio. I think people still love it. I think, I was interviewing Jack Canfield, Chicken Soup for the Soul. I mean, he's probably the most prolific authors in the world. And he and I were talking about it, and people just like to listen. I think people like to watch, and I think people like to listen. And I think what we do is we take the work away from them by the fact that they can, somebody's doing their books right now, they're writing a marketing letter, or they're, catching up on their paperwork, but they're listening to us right now too as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. They're multitasking, and we give them the ability to do that when we create these podcasts. And I think people like that.
I'm interested in the business model. So your show is called All Business, your podcast. Your show appears to on csuiteradio.com. That seems to be an aggregator of, I'm counting, there looks like there's 12 different business podcasts.
Absolutely, and there'll be another 20 or 30 before the end of this year.
Okay, so explain. I like that. So what we're starting to see is this, iTunes and Stitcher have kind of been the places where all the podcasts live. And it's, I think the user interface on both of them has some work to be done. Is C-Suite Radio what we're going to see going forward, where we're seeing these niche sites pulling together podcasts of a similar topic?
Absolutely, and for the audience that we represent. So, for instance, I'm seen or heard in this case on Play.it and CBS Radio. So those are my main sources, along with iTunes. That's where you typically hear my show. But then I also feed it up under C-Suite Radio, just like I have television shows that go under C-Suite TV. Mm-hmm. And what we do is we target C-Suite leaders of greater than $10 million in revenue. That's our primary audience. But there are many others, like entrepreneurs, like the ones listening now, who also can access that. But we primarily have an audience of about 3 to 4 million executives that we serve in that community. So you're going to see these various tribes, or what I like to refer to as broadcast networks. And you're going to see more and more of these broadcast networks, sprout up of interested people or tribes or bands of people who get together, and you put an umbrella around it, and then there is where you can go to get all of that content. I think there's going to be like wine radio, coffee TV, and things like that, more and more with this digital explosion, where you can go to one place and find all the content that's relevant to you.
The one thing that's missing, and I know Alex Blomberg from This American Life, and now he's got the podcast Startup, where he's working on, it's a business that is all about podcasting. There is that interaction between people at the gym or having sex, as you probably thought there may be someone listening, like if we do say something, the ability for them to act on it is not there right now. There's that technology, like the ability to say, hey, listen, buy this now, or leave a comment in the show notes, or share it on your Facebook. There's quite a stretch for someone listening to a podcast to do that.
Get over it. That's great that you can have that. By the way, if you're really good, they'll remember, or they'll write it down.
Yeah.
Or they'll come back to you. So, and if they don't, okay, get over it. No one died.
No one died, but I do think that's the gap in the market for podcasting, and I reckon someone will solve that because that's where video has the higher conversion. I agree. If you're really good, someone's going to hit pause, pull over, write it down. But wouldn't it be nice if it was easier than that? So you've got
But you know what? There are devices that are coming that are going to have. I mean, you could ask Siri. You could stop and listen to Siri. Siri, you send me a note. Mm-hmm. But Amazon's got a new device coming out. It's called Echo. I just got that, where it's actually an always-on device that sits in my apartment. I got one for the office, and all of a sudden I say, "Hey, order such and such," and it orders it for us.
Oh, wow.
So things like that. So will it be there? Yeah, sure, eventually. Yeah. But until then, take a piece of paper and some pencil and write it down.
Yeah. # get over it. Jeffrey
right.
Hayzlett. So okay, C-Suite Radio is yours. C-Suite TV, same proposition, where you're pulling a whole lot of online video programs together.
Well, or we're creating. I mean, we have three different models. We originate in the material itself, so we create our own. We also co-develop, where we work with someone to develop a show or something that's missing, and then we curate. So we pull shows like yours and others where we aggregate that content. And we say, this is really good. We want to put it on our network, and we want to feed it up to our millions of people in our community.
Love it. So what role then does Play.it have in all this?
Well, Play.it is the new platform for CBS Radio. So in the States, there's a number of different broadcast networks, CBS being one of those. And they went and created an online podcasting network called Play.it. And I am the host of All Business with Jeffrey Hayzlett. And that particular show is the lead show or title show for all the business podcasts. And then there's one for sports, there's one for pop culture, there's one for music, there's one for food, there's one for health, and then there are many others that are there. So they have kind of like a lead anchor. I happen to be the one for business, and then there are many other business podcasts, and they'll continue to add hundreds of them. So again, another aggregator, that CBS is creating, and then they of course, what do? They go and sell ads for that, and as you're listening, and so I do read-ins for those. We have traditional ads that run before him, so there's all different ways to make money from it.
Love it. So they literally Play IT are just pulling your show from C-Suite Radio. You're not producing additional content.
No, I'm actually producing it for Play.it, and then I'm pulling it over to C-Suite Radio. But when you listen, when you download it, it actually goes to Play.it. That's where we're going. It's just you might access it from wherever you want to access it.
Love it. Love it. Tell me, Jeffrey, coming to the end, but I absolutely appreciate the time you're giving us, because you're actually bringing us, there's some stuff going on over there that you're sharing with us that isn't happening here yet, particularly the aggregation of podcasts and online video and things, which is exciting, really exciting.
But there's things in Australia that happen there that happen first. I mean, I don't know if a lot of folks know this, but a lot of the major companies actually try things out in Australia before we bring them to other places.
We're the guinea pigs.
Yeah, well, it's because it's a little bit of that. You could say that, but you're also a very isolated community, so to speak. 17, 20 million people in the size of roughly the United States, and a fairly homogeneous population with lots of different ethnic groups that are part of it. And if it works there, it'll work in the United States. So a lot of times you'll see products actually roll out there, but you also, Australia has been very good at adopting technology a lot faster than other places. So a lot of the digital technology that we typically have seen has come, through Australia first before it's gone somewhere else.
Yeah, well, that's good news. 24 million now in Australia and growing.
Is it that big?
Yeah, it is.
See, there my numbers are off. I was never good at math. That's why I'm good at marketing.
Love it. Hey, before we finish, you do a lot of speaking. You did mention a $35,000 keynote fee. That's fantastic. How often do you speak? How many would you do a year?
About 150 talks a year.
Mate, that is tremendous.
Yeah, last year we probably did about 160 something, but we typically speak a couple times a week on average.
What's your key message?
It's about driving change. I mean, I'm really about change. Either adapt, change, or die. That's the way you got to look at your business. About the time that you get it right, and when you think, "Oh, this is perfect," start changing it, because it's going to change again. Because if you're not growing, you're dying. And that's the way you need to look at any business, whether it's a small business or it's a big business. You've got to grow your business.
Keep moving forward. Never look back.
Exactly.
I think a lot of
saddle up and ride. Saddle up and ride.
Well, too many businesses get stuck in a rut of doing the same old thing and getting the same old results. So the idea of, and again, the marketing options that are open to us, the bar is low in terms of entry, and the downside is not very high because we can try things, social media, content production, etc. It's exciting times.
And I think you heard me say it. So try it. What happens if you make a mistake? Great. No one's going to die. Move on. That's the biggest thing you need to keep in mind is, unless you're doing life-altering things, with your business, which most of us aren't, and as long as you're not doing heart surgery or operating heavy machinery, the good news about when you're talking about marketing or selling things, if you make a mistake, what's the worst that's going to happen? Maybe a paper cut. Maybe you'll get embarrassed because it was a wrong message or you misspelled the word. Get over it. Have fun with it.
Get over it. Love it, mate. Hey, Jeffrey Hayzlett, thank you for sharing marketing and business gold on the Small Business Big Marketing Show.
Let's do it again.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I enjoyed bringing it to you. That interview was brought to you by the very good folk at 99designs.com/SBBM and the good folks at netregistry.com.au. Hey, if you loved it, hit Jeffrey up on Twitter at Jeffrey Hayzlett and tell him you heard him on the show. My top 5 learnings from that fireside chat with Jeffrey. Number 1, I love that he sees no difference between a Main Street and a Wall Street business. Just the numbers, the number of zeros are different. And it's true, you know, we can now punch way above our marketing weight. And we do have so many options available to us to market our business. I would argue that you can do more when you've got more zeros alongside your marketing budget, but we can still do so many great things as small business owners these days. Number 2 learning, this is interesting. If you're not doing social media, you're a moron. Look, I don't necessarily agree with that, as I said to Jeffrey, but it's someone else's opinion and it's always good to get another view on things. And for you, hey, social media might really be working. And as you heard, Jeffrey is pretty upbeat about it. I love this one, number 3. The new marketers are now producers. Understand that, team. Really stop and think what that means for you, the business owner. You might be a vet. If you go down this path of helpful marketing that I talk about, you are now a producer, you know, and you are producing content. You're creating a media platform to promote your business, just like I am with this podcast. Number 4, I love Jeffrey's belief in podcasting. Hey, his concept of these niche networks developing as well. That's exciting in itself because all of a sudden we are going to be able to target people so much more easily, I suppose. And I don't like the word target because it sort of sounds like they're sitting there waiting to be targeted. But we do have a group of best mates in each of our businesses. If we understand where they are, what problems they have and how we can solve them, how they feel about our industry, you know, we can really niche things down. We're going to see podcasting networks and video networks that are just specific to our industry, and that's exciting. Number 5, I like this one. If you make a mistake, get over it. No one's going to die. I think we can get a little bit uptight about the marketing of our business every now and then, and I think we just need to take a big breath and relax into it because, you know, unless you're operating heavy machinery or you are a heart surgeon or something, no one's going to die. And take a risk in the marketing of your business. Get over the mistakes you make. Have a laugh. Look back and laugh and look forward with excitement. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Jeffrey. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Head over to the show notes for episode 230 at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com. Let me know what you liked, what you didn't like. What you didn't like doesn't make sense, what you didn't like. And I would love to continue the discussion over there. Thanks 99 Designs and Net Registry for bringing us that interview. Righto, motivational marketing quote of the week. This one's brought to you by, well, not brought to you by, it's said by Brian Halligan, who's the HubSpot co-founder. And I love it because it plays right into that whole discussion we just had with Jeffrey Hayzlett. Brian says, people shop and learn in a whole new way compared to just a few years ago. So marketers need to adapt or risk extinction. I like that. So true. The marketing world has changed. Don't feel the pressure. You're already listening to this show, right? So well done. You are aware of these changes. But if you're not implementing something new in your marketing, you may risk extinction down the track because your competitors may well be implementing something. So be open to new ideas. Know that the world's changing. Know that the changes are playing right into the hands of us, the motivated small business owner, and you will be on the track to marketing nirvana. Righto, if you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you did, then you are going to love the marketing GOLD I have in store for you next week. I'm going to be joined by Rowdy McLean. Rowdy started a small business in competition to Telstra and subsequently sold it for plenty. He now shares his secret to how we can all play a bigger game. He talks about that from stage, and his whole view on life is that every single one of us should be playing a bigger game. It's a great chat. To never miss an episode or a second of any bit of the Small Business Big Marketing Show, simply subscribe on iTunes or your favourite podcast app. Be sure to hit me up on Twitter. Say g'day. My Twitter handle is @TimboReid, R-E-I-D. To book me to speak at a conference, head over to timreid.com.au. And if you want to pay it forward, and I think you should, I think we all should, then go ahead and tell someone just like you about this show. They're going to love you forever. Be sure to use 99designs.com/SBBM for all your design needs and Net Registry to get your online marketing sorted. And a very big thank you to all those who left a review on iTunes in the last week or a comment in my show notes, because I do read and respond to them all. And a special thank you to forum members. Don't know why I whispered then, but you are very close to my heart, forum members. You guys rock. So thank you for your commitment to building your business through smart marketing and your contributions inside the forum. Until next week, I'm Timbo Reid. You're a motivated small business owner. May your marketing be the best marketing. Bye for now.
You've been listening to the Small Business Big Marketing Show with Tim Reid. Want more marketing goodness? Then visit smallbusinessbigmarketing.com.